Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Come on in and join me while I set up today for you lovely people. For those of you that don't know, I'm Dr. Teranda Knight. Yes, yes. Come on in and join me this morning as we, yes, yes, yes. Hi, you guys. All right, so I wanted to come on today. The peaceful leader, all right? Why burnout isn't a personal failure, it's a system failure. And remember, today is also a TikTok live and a podcast based presentation as well. So I will be navigating between both factors. So, welcome back to my leaders out there, whether you, in whatever space that you're leading in, you are listening to the Leadership Rebuild, but you're on my podcast, The Behavioral Health Queen, Behavioral Health Talks with Dr. Teranda Knight. And of course, that's me, Dr. Teranda Knight. I'm a doctor of behavioral health and founder of virtually renowned consulting Access LLC. And today's episode is for every leader out there who's ever looked in the mirror and thought, am I the problem? Well, yes, this is definitely the a talk that you want to listen to. So let me say this loud and clear. You're not lazy, you are exhausted. And just know that with burnout can look different. And it's not a personal failure, it's a system failure. So come on in. Thank you guys for joining. Kareen and Lead, hi. Go ahead and show some love this morning. Click the heart and get your points in. You do get points for coming into my live as well. And yes, I am streaming today as well on my Podbean live. But in today's episode today, hi Terrence Maine. Thanks for joining. We're unpacking why a burnout among higher education and behavioral health leaders are not just a personal problem. It's a structural issue deeply rooted in basically outdated leadership models that are used, cultural pressures that are out there, and broken systems. And I get it. Once you kind of get used to something, you are not able to evaluate very well when you're working for the organization whether or not what you're doing is really getting the job done. So if you're ever felt like you had to be a superhero just to survive on Monday, stay with me because we're about to break this cycle. This cycle has to stop because our health is important to us. If we do not take the appropriate approaches to the things in our work life, which is where most of you guys spend your time in your day, then guess what happens? Your health declines over time. And sometimes you ask yourself, how did I get here? What happened? How did this even happen to me? And you're not even realizing as you're going through the process of your job or jobs with the S on the end of what it's actually doing to your body over time. So this is something that's not just dear to me, but I feel like it's important to other professionals in leadership to also be the same. I worked in higher education for 10 years as an adjunct professor of psychology. Thank you so much. I know I look so young, but I've worked in healthcare for over 18 years, and I can say that there is a deep level of experience and knowledge and constant research that comes with working in the field itself. Now, when I can say um, in higher education, there are constantly various different places where people find themselves questioning things. And it's not so much them questioning the system, they're questioning themselves and their capabilities of doing what the system's telling them to, because most of them feel like something needs to change, but they don't know how to identify that change needs to occur. So let me tell you about Dana, and this is just a made up name. She's a dean at basically a mid-sized university, who once told me I cry in my car for 10 minutes before I even walk into the building, right? And then she dries her eyes and she goes into her job and she feels like she makes miracles happen, all right? She had 3 degrees, 2 awards, and one foot in the door in which she thought that she was going to have an opportunity for leadership. Hi, first time mom. Thank you for joining this morning and showing some love. Her students, they were actually thriving pretty well, but she was crumbling. She wasn't feeling it. She basically was leading in a space where she felt like failure was becoming her structure. And here's the truth: Dana didn't need another motivational quote. She needed a new system. Okay. She didn't need someone to come in and tell her that she was the problem. She needed someone to evaluate the system and her to determine if it really was her or not. Because a lot of times it's just the system and way the system is built, where we're dealing with leadership that does not want to change. And that is what's leading to a lot of the burnout. We're in 2025. Change is something that we should be uh, pretty well acclimated to. I mean, I believe COVID taught us how to do a whole lot of changing real fast. And if you didn't learn that during that process, then guess what? You're already 3 steps behind. And so let's dig into 3 reasons why leadership burnout is a system failure and how we can fix it using basically my framework: lead, grow, impact, and scale. The first thing is misaligned metrics. It's totally associated with my lead framework. And when we look at it, most institutions reward overfunctioning and performative productivity, right? But my lead framework says listen to the data and the body. So listen to what the research says, but also listen to what your body's telling you when you're trying to acclimate to a change. Okay. Engage with values. Okay. Sometimes we engage empty hearted, empty minded. We're just doing it because we work for the job and that's what the job says we have to do. And we're not putting into that full thought of, so not just outcomes. And then as A, which is assessing, workflow sustainability, not just speed. Develop holistic success markers. Okay. Know where you fall when you're looking at those KPIs. Don't ignore the piece. You know, the system is broken. We get that, but just know that we can fix it. And we have to be able to not just acclimate ourselves to the actual change that's happening, but seeing it from the aspect of how do I fit into this, but also how does the system fit into me? And the two has to occur in order for the cohesiveness to happen. Many jobs see it as, oh no, my employees are just going to do what I say. But if that's the case, you would never do research to find out what your employees want, like, need, and in order to thrive in their job roles. You wouldn't be sending surveys out to your customers trying to figure out what they like, they don't like, and how to be successful in those areas. So it's totally, not meeting the spectrum when we're looking at the aspect of, hey, do we really care or not? Because, I have to believe that organizations and individuals actually care. All right. I have been through so many horrible situations. I have to believe there's people in this world that care. I may not have always encountered them or experienced that, but I know they're out there. And that is the key, is keeping that into mind and knowing that you are not always the problem. Sometimes it's just a system. The next is the invisible emotional labor, right? And that's where my growth framework comes into place. So you manage crisis, emotions, and systems, all while pretending you're okay, right? I know I did it for years. I smile because I want to be peaceful. And that's why I created my line of clothing, hashtag never fed the beast. Because honestly, I have never worked to feed a beast. I have worked to eliminate beasts if I could. And that is what I've always tried to do, get people to see the good in themselves, their capabilities, but also get the systems to see where they could actually change and improve in particular areas at. So you manage crisis, emotions, and systems all while pretending you're okay. I keep repeating that because that's what a lot of time is happening. But are you really managing it? Because some go home and they drink, some go home and they take out their anger and frustrations on their kids and families. Hi, everybody that just joined. Go ahead and click the heart up there and get your points if you like while you're in my live today. But yeah, grow. We start with the G first, which is grounding, recognizing basically what's draining you versus sustaining you. And then R, reclaiming your time. And O, optimizing your leadership presence. And W, working with intention, not tension. Okay. Working with intention, not tension. All right, because when you work with tension, you're basically internalizing the beast at that point. You're seeing yourself as having to basically take on a lot of energy that's not meant for you to take on. Okay, we have to realize the things we can change versus the things we cannot change, and that's okay. But we also have to fight for the things that we can change when we know about them and we're seeing them happen. So, the growth framework is basically helping you with that invisible emotional labor. All right, saying you're okay when you're not okay, it's not okay because your health is important to you. And the more you say that and the more you do that, you're harming yourself because your brain doesn't like that. Your brain doesn't like you telling it something and you're trying to do something different. It likes to be in cohesion with your body and knowing that what you're telling it is what you really want it to do. Okay. Cut the confusion. Confusion is what leads to the inability to change, the inability for systems and personal growth. We don't need too much more of that in the world. We need a whole lot more of individuals basically looking at themselves as well as the systems, not just blaming people, but looking at where the system actually has the capability of doing some improvement too. The next is the scale framework, and it's no exit or evolution plan. And I say that no exit or evolution plan because leaders aren't allowed to evolve. They're just put in positions because the leadership teams that are hiring them feels like they meet something that brings some sense of cohesion to the team, but really doesn't bring growth to the organization. So it's more of a personal thing than it is what's really best for the organization, and they expect individuals to endure. But the scale actually helps you shift the concept of that and look at it from a different standpoint. So, S being simplify what you control, C being create micro adjustments, and A is looking at aligning with your long term leadership mission. But L is liberate your calendar. All right, that's important. And then elevate what's essential. Okay, if you're not elevating what is essential, then you're just doing anything and you're wasting time. And so that's more of a reason of how you end up in this space of burnout because you're just doing without any strategy, no plan, and you're just trying to accomplish what you can get accomplished when you can. But evolution is kind of the new way of looking at endurance. You got to evolve. You got to be willing to look at things differently and see how it can be a positive level of impact to you and what you're trying to achieve, not just personally, but with the actual system that you work in. Because you put in leadership roles, not just to sit there and basically do what they say, but to look at where you can identify core factors or issues within the system and help improve that. And sometimes many of you don't know what to do. And sometimes consulting with organizations that work in your space or have worked in your space is key and ideal to that. And that's really what my services is about. So when systems expect superhuman output without sustainable inputs, it's the system that fails, okay? Because it's not the leader. The system is not the leader, it's the people. Just with Chat GPT and all these new things that's coming out AI related, people are so conditioned and can be fed things in a certain way that their brain just automatically resonates with a certain part of advertisement or someone saying something that they believe that AI is literally just a computer. No, AI had to be created by a human being. It has to be managed by a human being. If you have a business that attempts to utilize that, it is human based. Even with being here on TikTok, it is human based, and that's okay. And that's why you keep getting this constant spit out of things, because the human basis of manipulation is real. Biases and judgments and things like that impacts the level of success of anything that we try to do, and why so many may be more successful than others. Hi, Billy Last Six. Thanks for joining today. Thanks, Hugo, Kali, Jazz, 323. Go ahead and you guys ask me some questions if you like. I just want to give you some time to maybe ask me something about behavioral health. It's okay. I'm not a licensed professional. I worked with crisis assessments and referrals for many, many years. I actually worked in the emergency room, community mental health and substance based services. I've referred numerous people and did numerous assessments and actually provided some counseling and coaching to patients and their families to help them grow and succeed during their process or transition. Many people had the misconception with us as behavioral health specialists, as we were the ones that were sending their family members off and things like that. It's not. It's the medical doctors that makes that determination of whether your family members end up on involuntary commitments and referred to hospitals and that sort of thing. We are the ones that come in and do the assessments and provide the guidance and support to the patient as well as the family members. And that's important to realize, because I've learned in healthcare or any area that I worked in, even in higher education, that we tend to like to point fingers, and it's not cool. And sometimes it's best to just say I don't know, or it's okay. But when you're looking at particular things that you're trying to internalize onto yourself that impacts your health, the way you think, the way you deal with things, the way you address situations, you got to look at things from a different perspective. So here's what I want you to do today. I want you guys to audit your own peace. Look at how you feel about yourselves. Okay, how peaceful are you? Do you find yourself like feeling boiling, like it's just rolling all the way up, and your neck feels like it wants to get flushed and red? Or maybe you're the person that just shuts down, gets depressed, just want to lay in the bed, don't want to get out, just want to stay in one space, don't feel motivated to want to do anything because you feel like you're being drained and you're not able to feel satisfied in what you're trying to do. What parts of your leadership flow feel forced versus fluid? Okay. And know that sometimes you may have to find a different avenue if where you work isn't willing to change. And that's okay. And that's where support is and needed. This week, I'm going to be posting some strategy call videos onto my website. This will kind of help you better understand where I can meet your needs at, or specifically skills and things like that. But the next thing I want you to think about is start small. Pick one framework, whether it's lead, grow, impact, or scale, and apply it this week. Okay? Like really think about what I've talked about, and hopefully you can remember some things or you jotted some stuff down. But check your calendar. What schedule that feeds your work but not your soul? Okay, what is in your schedule that basically feeds everything about your job but not your soul? Okay, now we have the tendency to go and work for organizations and give up our autonomy and say, I'm working for this organization for a paycheck. It's an exchange. I'm just here to do a job and get paid for it. But that's not helping you or the organization. And many times, toxic other employees can impact really good employees, and that's not fair or good either. If you join me today and I've said something that you may have liked, go ahead and help me meet a little bit of my goal. Otherwise, like one of my other TikTok live video individual followers I went to, and I'm a non-discriminative person. I will follow anyone. I don't judge people. If I follow you, it's not because I have had your experience. I may follow you just because that's what it is on TikTok. and I'm just here to support and engage. But it's important for people to realize that, because sometimes that can be taken out of context. Oh, she's following such and such, she must know them. No, it's only about 5 people on this platform that I know personally, and they know who they are. The rest I don't know, all strangers to me. And with the TikTok algorithm, I feel like they were sent to me as some form of watchers or something. I don't know, because I you can do TikTok lives and get very little engagement, not unless it's from a real person, right? So it's that part when you're being on social media, but I'm not going to allow it to deter me. My base is 100%, my organization is 100% virtual. And, sometimes when negative people know that, they will try to manipulate that. And it's okay. It's something they have to be accountable for. My 60-day enhanced journal, motivation journal for leaders, that you've probably seen some videos about, is basically designed as a core part of the process and flow. And it says 60 days, but once you download it, you can recycle it as many times throughout the year for every project you may use, anytime you may need to basically revamp yourself personally and make sure you're not the problem and that is the system problem. And so you can let me know if you would like to print it down once you purchase it, because I'm more than willing to send you guys a actual copy of it with a little bit more color and things like that into it that you can actually download. So if that's an option for you, I kind of stay away from downloads, because people will get into your downloads and try to use that as a form of way of hacking people. And I do not agree with that part. But it's something that's there in the virtual world. No organization can ever get around it, matter how big they are or how small they are. It's just like people that work for organizations face to face. They can't get around hiring people that has their own personal motives against someone that comes to work for their organization only to attack certain people. You just cannot get over that. I worked in healthcare for years. We had people that would come in and get hired in positions that were taking people's information and using it inappropriately. It happens whether it's face to face or virtual. So to say you're scared to click on someone's link, I get it, but you're not scared to go to a face to face job and work there, where you might be working around someone that has the same negative potential. Something to think about. And that's why I'm not intimidated by people and their tactics when they attempt to do certain things like that. Because what happens is that if you are someone that knows someone that does that, then just know that, yeah, it's not healthy and it's not good. So if this resonates for you, and you feel like you would like to have a little bit more information, maybe a guide, see what it looks like, direct message me. I will actually send you over a copy of that actual guide. And you can also just go to my website, click sign up. And once you sign up, it gives you access to some exclusive articles. And then I can send over some free tools to you as well. And if you're not ready to stop feeding the beast, maybe you want to keep feeding that beast, just know that once you end up with those health conditions that you cannot explain, you may have either fed the beast that's within you or the beast that's around you, or maybe both. And that's not healthy. Okay. And it leads to burnout, and it starts building this sense of, failure, or feeling like you fail. Okay. Many of us have not failed. We've grown because we have just kept moving with life. And that's where you should find yourself at, as in space of leadership. So start building a sustainable leadership life. Know that I'm here to support you. You can book a meeting with me, consultation or counseling. And know that the strategy call sessions will probably go away in a little bit, because I'll be posting some videos that will basically be what you get on a strategy call. So yes, you can view those however you like, and you can actually direct message me and email me from my website and let me know if you have some questions or concerns. And remember, for your safety, if you click on someone's website, there's a little lockbox at the top that lets you know their site is secured. So if anybody ever questions my site, just go to it, click on that little box up there at the top, and it'll tell you exactly how secure my site is. And just know that security doesn't matter how big your organization is or small. Anyone can hack anything at this point. I mean, any VPN, any of that stuff. And yeah, so be smart. Don't allow people to prevent you from getting the support that you may need. And don't forget to follow, share, and leave a review and let me know how you feel or what you think. It helps other leaders, not just yourself. It helps leaders that might be just like you or maybe a little different, but find this sense of rest, reflection, and most of all, realness, because realness is it. Transparency is key, and knowing who you are as a leader is also important. I know that I can say throughout my professional exploration, I knew who I was and I knew how to stand strong in who I am and not be manipulated or intimidated. But I can say that it still doesn't prevent things from happening to you, which is why, yeah, it makes you think about things different. So until next time, you can go to my website. You can click on the link in the bio in my link tree and find a lot of different links there, including my website, some of the forums and books that I have out there now. I have a new one. You guys will be the first to know that will be coming out, which is The Weight of Healing. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's a personal exploration journey that shares different stories, but those stories' names are definitely changed to, protect the privacy of the individual. But yeah, I'm really excited about that one. I feel like it's going to be the best book ever. So yeah, until next time, you guys, thanks for joining me this morning. Know to work hard, stay peaceful, and never feed the beast. And until next time, go ahead. I'm going to give you a few minutes if you want to click that heart and get your points for today. Show a little extra love. Give me some questions or comments. Otherwise, you guys have a great day.